Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Metal Command Podcast Top Albums of the Year Countdown. Tony here with you, and I am going to be counting down albums number 26 through 30 on this particular video. And for those of you that missed the previous video, don't forget I do pick out my favorite albums of the year out of the 150 to 200 some releases that get sent to me every year, and these are the albums that have had a profound impact on me this year. So with that being said, let's talk about album number 30. It's going to be Tony Martin with the album Thorns. Now, for those of you that know me or don't know me, you know or don't know, Tony Martin, his vocals, his voice has had the most profound impact on me as a singer. If you listen to my singing voice, you can hear a lot of him in my voice, and that is the profound influence he has had on my singing. So obviously, I love the guy's voice. The first time I heard him, it was in Black Sabbath. Obviously, I heard him on the Headless Cross album, which is my favorite album with him singing. I think his voice sounds the best on that record, but this new one is very close to that. And I'm not going to lie to you folks, a lot of people will think that I'm blasphemous. This is blasphemy for saying this, but my favorite Black Sabbath singer was Dio, followed closely by Tony Martin. I like him better than Ozzy. I know a lot of people think that's crazy, but I like the Ozzy era stuff probably better musically, but Tony Martin is my favorite. I like him as a vocalist better than Ozzy, if that makes sense to some of you. And I'm sure it does make sense to some people. I know there's some Ozzy fanatics that will go crazy and say I'm ridiculous for saying that, but I love his voice, and this Thorns album has some very, very good songs, and Tony Martin sounds great on this. I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised. You know, usually when vocalists start to age a little bit, they don't sound quite as good as they did in their prime, but man, he really nails it vocally on this album, and it's very, very good. Definitely worthy of being on the list, and it's at number 30. Number 29, probably one of the more consistent guys in the heavy metal world is Bjorn, and that is with his album Over the Horizon Radar. Bjorn, you know, his stuff that he does in the solo albums is a lot different than, say, on Master Plan. But Bjorn has put out some pretty consistent material over the years since he left that band. And I'll be honest with you, you know, his solo albums can vary as far as their ranking goes, but they always seem to make the list because he always does put out a pretty consistent record. So, you know, his stuff is hard rock mixed with a little AOR, and that's okay with me. It's always a good listen. Definitely worthy of being on the list, as I said, at number 29. Number 28 is going to surprise a few people because it's the type of band and music that I normally don't talk about or listen to on the show, and that is a band called Dimitri, which is more of a nu metal band, and not typically the kind of stuff I listen to, but their album entitled Revolt came out on AFM Records, and I don't know what it was, but it really resonated with me. The music really caught me. And again, I don't go out here and seek, oh my God, I'm not going to like this based on what I've read on other people's reviews or what kind of metal it is. So I try to give everything a chance, and I'm glad I did with these guys. Not a band I normally would be listening to, but man, I'll tell you what, very, very good release, very, very good album. Definitely worthy of that number 28 spot on the list. And even though it's not consistent with what I listen to, again, I thought it was a very, very good release, and especially for that kind of music, it really was pretty catchy and really caught my attention quite a bit. At number 27, we have Hammerfall, and definitely one of those bands I got into during that golden age of European power metal from the late 90s through the early 2000s. I still remember Glory to the Brave coming out. I got to meet Hammerfall when they toured with Death, when Legacy of Kings came out, and Death was touring for the Sound of Perseverance album. Actually, they came to the old Peabodys here in Cleveland. They toured with Death, and I think there was a band called Medieval that had opened up for both of those bands. It was a local band here in Cleveland. So Hammerfall is great. I got to meet Oscar and Joachim. I sat on a bus with them very early on when doing my radio show. Two really, really cool dudes. And Hammerfall, is there really anything new or groundbreaking with these guys? Do they really change their sound at all? And the answer is no. It's pretty much, I'm not saying it's the same album, but their sound has not changed since Glory to the Brave. And to be honest with you, why should it? You know, they put out catchy kind of have some cheesy lyrics in the power metal, but that's to be expected. And I'm not as much into this kind of music as I used to be, but I still like to listen to them, and Hammerfall always puts on a great live show. So definitely worthy of being on the list at number 27. And at number 26, this is an album that may surprise a few of you, but it won't surprise most of you because you know how much I love thrash metal, and that is the fact that I have the band Hatred with the album The Veil of Shadows. Cody Souza singing, who is the son of Steve Zetro Souza of Exodus. And I'll be honest with you, Hatred was first formed by Steve Souza, and he sang in the first couple albums before he rejoined Exodus. So his son took over on vocals, and Cody Souza sounds absolutely phenomenal. This guy's voice, he sounds like his dad. Maybe a more extreme version of his dad, but he still sounds great. Some people think the vocal delivery being non-stop the way it is, like going, this band goes from 0 to 110 miles an hour, and people think it's non-stop aggressiveness, and they think it's too much for them. That was a criticism I read about. Honestly, I love the record. It doesn't really bother me. Cody Souza following in his dad's footsteps, and Hatred putting out an outstanding album. So with that being said, thanks for watching this particular video in the top albums of the year countdown. Gonna come back with albums number 21 through 25. Lots of good stuff there, and I will see everybody on the next video. If you like what you heard and saw in this video, please like the video, comment on it, and of course subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.